In preparing for this lesson, we were talking about how a responsible government meet the needs of a local community. I thought it would be very wise if we could bring in a local official to let the children see that when you're talking about the local community and the local government, that it's things that's happening around them, in their home, in their community. And so therefore, I wanted the kids to begin to look closer into their community and even discuss with their parents what are some things that they see that's going wrong with their community, or some ways that they can improve it, or things that they see that needs to be addressed, and to let them know that these things can be addressed, that they can be fixed, but there are steps that we go through and that our government is there to help us. And I thought that once we brought in some local officials and the children were able to give their questions, and I had them to prepare the questions early enough to give them time to really think about what's really going on in their community that's relevant to the lesson that we're learning. And so they prepared their questions early. Some of them took theirs home, and their parents talked over some different things with their parents about what is going on and what would they like to see happen in their community, some improvements. So this is to let them feel more a part of it, of the lesson, and more a part of being active in things that they've learned about their community. I felt like them asking the questions made it not so much teacher-led, that it was able to give them a chance to feel like they were part of the lesson and that they were part of planning the lesson. And so that's why I planned some of the things ahead of time. I wanted them to break down to see that the government is on 3 different levels, that when we're talking about just the local, that's the mayor and that's the things that are in their neighborhood. But we also showed them the different officials who were state and the country, the national. And I wanted them to be able to recognize and identify the people who serve in these political offices for the state, local, and national level. During the lesson, I felt like the kids were very in tune to the lesson, because I think that they really wanted to hear the answers to some of the questions and problems that was going on in their community, and that the feedback, that the fact that they were able to interact with a local official, that made the lesson even greater. Because so many times we think of the government, the president, the governor, mayors, we see them on TV, we see them in the newspaper, and so we think that they're out of reach for us. And the fact that the mayor was actually here listening to them, I felt like that made the lesson go a whole lot more. I think the kids, during the lesson, they were able to see what type of things were issues that we would address with the government, and some of the issues and questions and concerns that they had were things that we would address within our school community, like with the principal, that there were steps that some things we addressed school issues, that we don't have to take these things quite to our government, that these issues can be settled and solved right here within the school. So overall, I was glad that they were able to see the difference between what type of issues are issues that concern your government, and what type of issues or things or concerns or things that we can address right here at school. And it was also a chance, I noticed during the lesson, to give them a chance to see what is it that they can do. That there are some things that they can do. They don't have to feel like when it comes to rules and laws and issues or things that's not right, that just because they're children, that there's nothing that they can do about it. Pushing the students past proficient, I think we can maybe challenge them to even do things as much as take the concern that they had today and maybe generate a letter to like the mayor of their actual like community that they live in, that they can generate letters to the mayor about their concerns. I think that's a way that their voice can be heard. Push the ones that are proficient a little further, that they can to write letters to their local officials about concerns they may have in their community, and also even with them things and ideas that they have about things going on in their school. I think that their ideas can be heard. We can even invite the principal in, and I can have them to come in, and when the principal come in, I can have those students to share with Ms. Shows some of the ideas that they may have, not just address the problem, but I think that we could talk about them coming up with some possible solutions that they can discuss with the principal to make our school a better community for everyone. With the struggling students, I support them. I guess we'll take it one step at a time. I think I'll go back with them as to, we can use videos, we can use websites, we can use different lessons to just like go in and let them see. We may even watch viral videos to where they can see some actual town meetings going on, or see some different things that different levels of governments do. And if, as they're watching it, I think sometimes they need to see things like, to be able to understand it a lot more, and just break it down piece by piece. Like once we just talk about the local government and have them know who are your local officials, watch some different things to see so they can get that visual of what it is that they do, and maybe then take it to the state and take it to the national, so they can see that there are levels, that we start with the government, just like levels here, and it builds up. So I think we can just take it step by step and just consistently doing it over and over, visuals and other things that to help them to understand the lesson better. Okay, class. In social studies, we're continuing our lesson on our community and its government. And so by the end of this lesson, there are several things that you should be able to do by the time we finish this lesson. You should be able to define the government and describe its purpose. You should be able to identify government services and people in the government, or just people who provide these services for your community and for your citizens. You should also be able to explain how a responsible government meets the needs of a local community. So at the end of our lesson, at the end of this unit, these are some things that you should be able to do. Now, if you look on your desk, I gave each student a card. It was by partners. I want you to take that card out and let's look over it. And we'll begin our class discussion with the card that I gave you. If you're partner A, you have a particular card. If you are partner B, we're going to look at your card. So, and then what we'll do is we'll have a class discussion. We'll open up with our regular class discussion on this topic. So everybody won't discuss, but we'll choose several of you to talk about your topic. So let's look at the cards. If you're a partner A, your card says, imagine what it would be like if there were no one were in charge at school. Imagine what it would be like if no one were in charge at school. Now, if you are partner A, we're going to start with you first. I want you to think about this question, and then I want to hear your response of what do you think it would be like if no one were in charge at school. So we have several A volunteers. So we will begin. Let's begin with Janari.
If it wasn't nobody in charge of the school, it would be unsafe because it would have nobody in charge for the class in school. All
right, Janari feels that the class would be very what? That school would be a what? Unsafe place. So how many of you agree? Thumbs up if you agree with Janari. That school would probably be an unsafe place if there were no one in charge. Now I have a question. Who are the people that's in charge at school? Who's the top person that's in charge at school? Who's the top person at Northeast Elementary? Who's in charge? I'll tell you. Who's that person? Miss Shows. Our what? Principal. So, okay, so we have other people who are in charge, like who will be next after Miss Shows, class? Miss Fernandez. Miss Fernandez. So think about it. If there were no Miss Fernandez and no Miss Shows at school, Janardi feels that school would probably become very unsafe. All right? Amari, what do you think?
I think they could do whatever they wanted to do and bring and play with toys and nobody would get to learn a lot.
How many of you heard Amari's answer? So first of all, what is the first point, Amari, that you made? You feel that what school would be like?
It wouldn't be able. Nobody would be able to learn. Everybody would think whatever they would be able to do whatever they wanted to do.
So think about this. If Miss Shows, the principal, or Miss Fernandez there were no people like them here. Then do you think that the children would feel that, not all children, because if I said all, that's my what? Opinion. So think about this. Children would probably think that they could do whatever it is that they wanted to what? Do. So do you think that would be a good place for learning?
No.
That would not be a good place for learning. All right, we're going to try one more and we'll move on to B. All right, let's go with Kate.
I feel that the schools will be dangerous
is for kids, because they will bring stuff that they have no business bringing, and then the teacher might get hurt, and then everybody would think that they can get on tables, do everything, take the teacher's stuff, and take off their shoes and go to sleep during class and not be able to learn.
All right, so that means that school would be a place that would be total chaos. So there would probably be no rules for the kids to follow at school if no one was in what? Charge. Okay, we're good. But let's go to partner B's question. Let's go to partner B. With partner B, your question said, what would it be like if there were no rules, no laws, or government
Leaders anywhere.
Anywhere? So let's have a couple of volunteers for B to talk about their answer. So B, anybody with partner B would like to volunteer and talk about what do they think it would be like if there were no rules, laws, or government leaders anywhere in this world. What do you think this world would be like? Let's start with Jansen.
Everything would be like broken. The windows will be broken. The houses will be torn down, and everybody would be hitting people, beating up people and stuff.
Okay, because there are no rules or no laws. All right, Tyler, what do you think?
I think if it was no rules or laws, so people would be like driving really fast and they may kill somebody.
Okay, one more. Let's go to Ron.
If there were no rules or laws, people would be killing and fighting, and houses would be broken down, torn down outside. You didn't have no cars. It was like they'd be homeless.
Okay, so let's go back to this. Let's go back to this question. Rules and laws. What's the purpose of, why do we even have rules? Why do we even have laws? What do you think the purpose would be for us to even have rules or to have laws? What is the purpose of having a rule or a law, Sean?
A rule is what you must follow, and a law is everywhere, like at a church or at a school or at home or.
Okay, what about Sean's answer?
I'll clarify that.
Okay, Michael says he'll clarify that. Let's hear from Michael.
A rule is for like one person to follow, but a law is for everybody to follow.
Okay, when you have but why do we have them? What is the purpose of them, Gage?
To keep us safe from doing bad things.
All right, to keep us what? Safe, to protect us. So let's go back. So let's think about this. Our word for today, our target vocabulary word is government. So we're going to start with that word. We're going to start with government. So when we think about the word government, a government is a group of people that leads and runs a what? City, state, or country. There are several vocabulary words that we need to know. In order to ask questions about the government, there are some things that you need to know. So what we're going to do is, we're going to look at a couple of our words, and we're not going to do them all. We're going to look at a few of them that we will need. And when we look at them, take out your boards and take out your markers for a few minutes. And we're going to look at those, and then we're going to go over it. Let's see how well we know a few of our vocabulary words. So once we go over the words and we look at them, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to discuss our words. So eyes to the screen. And we're going to...
Which word matches the definition? Can you figure it out? Choose the word that's being defined.
A group of people who work together to run a city, state, or country.
So think of the word that we have. It's one of our vocabulary words, and this one should be so easy because this word says it's a group of people who run a city, state, or country. What do you think this word may be? A group of people who run a city, state, or country. A group of people who, and we're only going to do a few of our vocabulary words, so let's try a couple. Come up. Number 12. And let's see if she chooses the correct answer. The pen is on the side.
Government.
All right, how many of you got it correct? Government. Press next. Let's see what our next vocabulary word is.
A ruler set a rule that everyone must follow.
This is for everyone to follow. Everyone must follow this one. If it's something that everyone must follow, what word is it if everyone has to follow it? Number 22. All right, it's a law. Press next, Michael.
Work done for others.
This is when somebody does work for you. Think about it. People who provide work for you. People who do things for you. Providing work for you. What do we call this? When people provide work for you. Work that is done for others. I'll be ready. You guys are doing great. Number 13.
Wrong age.
Service.
Service. All right, and this will be our
Unpaid government
last
for
one.
community services.
This is money that we pay to the who? To the government for community services. Money that we pay to the government for community services. Number 4. Last one, let's see who gets them all correct. All right, very good. So we'll stop here. How many got them all correct?
Oh, sorry.
All right, smart cookies today. So now, what we're going to do is, I want to think about, let's focus on the word government. Let's focus on the word government. Let's focus on the word government. And I want to know, when you think about government, let's think of some words that describe government, or some words that are associated with government. When we think about the government and we think about things, what kind of words come to mind when you think about the government? What are some kind of words that come to you when you think about government? When you think about government, now, I don't want to know what it means, but I just want to know what kind of words do you think about when you hear the word government? All right, Kennedy?
I think of citizens.
All right, Kennedy says she thinks of the word citizen. I thought I'm kidding. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add that word there, citizens. All right, give me another word that you may think of when you hear the word government. When you hear the word government. Jada?
I think of governor.
A governor? Okay, because a governor is a what? He's a leader of a what?
City, state, country.
Governor. The governor. Which one is the governor, the leader of, class? The state, the town, or the country? Which one? Tell me.
The state.
The state. So the governor would be a good choice. All right, give me a word for you. Give me a word. When you think of the word governor, Janaria? A community, because, okay, the government works for the who?
Community.
The government works for the community. So all of these would be good choices. Let's try one more, Cameron. Taxes. When you think of the government, you think of what? Taxes. All right, good.
Taxes
means
money.
I thought I said the last one. All right, one more. Emily?
People.
Okay, why would you say people?
Because the government is a group of people.
All right, and also the government serves who?
People.
It's the government serves. What do we call the people that live in a city, state, or country, class?
Citizens.
Citizens. So let's look. You have a sheet on your desk. And on your sheet, it has government officials. Now, who are the top government officials? What do we have? Who's the leader of all the government officials? That would be the what, class?
President.
Very good. That would be the president. You have a sheet that looks like this. So, under the first category, you can write president. It doesn't matter which box. Who else would be a government official? Who else would be all right, the mayor would be a government official. And the governor. So let's think about it. If I came and I chose here and I said this one, and I'm going to put a M for mayor. Where will I put the mayor's picture? Will the mayor's picture go under the local? Would I place the mayor picture under state? Or would I place it under the country? Let me see you do it on your sheet so I'll know that you know where it goes. Work with your partner to see which one would you pick. Now you have to know which mayor. Who's the mayor of Baton Rouge? Who is the mayor? So you should have a picture of who? Let me see if you can identify Kip Holden and place him. Where would he go?
No.
All right, Mackenzie, where did you place your mayor? Did he go under local, state, or country?
He goes on local.
Huh? Local is correct. So you should have taken your picture of Mayor Kip Holden and you should have placed him under local. All right, what about if the next ticket we said it was for the president? I'm going to put a P for president. Where would you put the president's picture? Take your president's picture. Who's the president of the United States?
Barack Obama.
All right, where would the president's picture go? Where would the president's picture go? Let's see, work with your partner. Very good. All right, Adasia, where would you put the president's picture?
I would put him on country.
All right, because the president he's the leader over the entire what? Country. Very good. So you should have had the president right there. Last, we're going to say the who? Governor. Where would you place the governor's picture? Where would you place the governor's picture? The whole class should be able to tell me that. Where would the governor go, class? You would place the governor under state. Now you have one picture left.
Ooh, the mayor.
All right, and you should have one picture left, but we're going to place that person on at the end of our lesson. So, check your sheets and then let's see if you got them all correct. I think you guys did a great job, so we're going to move on. Because I know you have your questions and we need to hear from our guests. So these are the pictures that you should have had. Now there's only one missing, so these are our officials, our government officials that we are working on today. So, now, where we have a guest speaker today, since we're talking about how the responsible government meet the needs of the community, we have two guests in our classroom today who's going to help us with this. We have Mayor Lori Bell from Clinton, and we have Alderwoman who's also a city council member, as we learned in our book, of the town of Clinton. So let's give them a round of applause. As Mayor Bell begins to come up and address the class about some of the responsibilities of a mayor.
Good morning, class.
Good
Boys and girls, how you all doing this morning?
Good.
Thank you all for having me here this morning. I am Lori Ann Bell, Mayor for the town of Clinton. And let me briefly explain to you some of the things that I do as mayor. The mayor of Clinton is the chief executive officer of that town. We are a town because our population is less than 5,000, but more than 1,000. That's why we are considered a town. Anything over 5,000, then you get into your cities, and less than 1,000, you get into your villages. My job as CEO of the town of Clinton is to make sure that from the top, everything breaks down. As mayor, I make appointments upon being elected. I appoint a police chief, a fire chief, a maintenance superintendent, and a town clerk, and a town attorney. These people that I appoint as part of the team is appointed by me, but approved by the council. What we have, the form of government, we are governed under what we call the Larson Act. The Larson Act simply adopted a mayor, alderman, board of alderman form of government, and that's what we the towns are run by. That's how we do the law up there in the town. With the police chief is in his lane, the fire chief, everybody has a lane. And what makes me effective, and I can say being an effective mayor, is that I know my place. Even as mayor of this town, being the CEO, the person who everything at the end of the day, it sits in my lap, I still know my place. It's about teamwork. I'm quite sure you all have heard, teamwork makes the dream work. And that's what we do in the town of Clinton. Okay?
Okay. Now, Mayor, if it's okay with you, come up with different problems that may be in their community or questions that they would like to ask yourself or Councilwoman. Do you have something you would like to share? You just okay. So, Mayor, I will allow you to, instead of me pulling numbers, would you like me to do it? Pull numbers, or would you like to just appoint some of the children? Okay.
No, let's just be fair. Let's just put numbers.
All right. Let's pull numbers to see. All right. Now, you have your questions and things that you would like to ask. Number, 5 is out today. I'm sorry, I should have taken that. Number 1.
Dr. Haley, in our community, the houses are ugly, broke down, and grass grown up. People can get hurt that way. What can you do about the houses that people don't live in anymore?
Very good question. That's a project that we are actually working on in the town of Clinton now. Those houses are called blight or abandoned properties. What we have is a town ordinance that tells us what we can legally do to correct these issues. The first thing we have to do is notify the owner of these abandoned properties. Once we notify them and send them a certified letter, and we ask them to come before the mayor's court and tell them what they need to do with this property. We give them X number of days to get back to us, and then if they don't, we take it to the town attorney, and matters get deeper, and we either destroy it, tear the property down, clean it up, and put the bill, give them the bill, or we would just go in and we will have those properties what we call adjudicated, which means that they become property of the town. We will clean them up and we will sell them at a tax sale.
All right. Thank you so much. How about number 12? Your question to the mayor.
Why aren't our roads and bridges repaired?
Another great question. The roads and bridges. In about, I would say almost all municipalities, money, we are strapped for monies. But I can say, the town of Clinton, we've had this problem with our streets for 30 plus years. Nothing done. Patches after patches after patches. We applied for a grant, and I always say we because it's a team. We applied for a grant. At first applying, we was told no. The engineers called back. They said no. What did I say? Apply again. Persistence, persistence, persistence. We got the grant. $596,000, over $500,000 to repair streets in the town of Clinton. It can be done. Local funding sometimes prohibits us from doing things, but with this grant and some local funds, we'll be able to do all our streets within the town of Clinton.
Very good. Number 20.
My question is, what would you tell the governor about taking away top school programs money?
Another good question. And I can say this with all, and I know you all can understand it. I can sort of relate to what the governor has inherited. Because upon being elected as mayor, I inherited the negative as well. And we had to cut back and not spend and do a lot of things. We didn't have to go to adding an additional tax base. But what I would say to the governor as far as TOPS is to really look at this program, really look at it. And if we can cut somewhere else other than education, because education is the key. You all are our future, and we have to make sure that education is there, that it's affordable, it's accessible, so that you all can go to the next level. You are our future leaders. And if we don't have a system to educate you and to help you to funding for education, then what happens to small towns like Clinton, bigger towns, cities like Baton Rouge? We need to look at some other source of cutting. And I think that the governor, you know, with all due respect, I think he's going to do a fine job with what he needs to do there, and we're going to be okay as far as education.
Very good. Number 8.
Mayor of Clinton, what are your plans to improve job opportunities?
Job opportunities. You know that in the town of Clinton, we're a small town, and we have businesses that come in. As far as job opportunities locally within Clinton, I can say that they are somewhat limited, but it doesn't mean that it can't be done. What we have to do, me as mayor, is network with other communities. Maybe we can't employ right there in the town, but I can network with other towns next to me, like Zachary, like Baker, those towns, to see what opportunities they have for children or for adults that can get these jobs. networking. I know that's a big word, but networking. Getting out there, talking to other people. Maybe you can help me, I can help you. We throw it all in a big pot. We call it gumbo and everybody's happy.
All right, let's see. Number 18.
There are a lot of homeless people. What can you do about it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, baby.
There are a lot of homeless people. What can you do about it?
Homeless people. Great question. Even in small communities like the town of Clinton, there are people that are homeless. Now, my thing is that, first of all, we have to get these people, we have to identify these people first. We have to identify them. Then when we identify them, and again, like I say, we're small, not to make excuses for the town of Clinton, but we are small. And again, we network with other towns, other cities, and we identify these people who are homeless, and we try to get them placed into shelters and help them. And eventually, we're getting them into a shelter, getting them a job so they can be self-supported and then get gainfully employed and get back out there and they can afford housing for themselves.
Great. A couple more. Number 9.
What can you do to get teachers money?
Woo-hoo! Like that question.
I'm glad that that question was asked too. Teachers in the classroom and money. This is exactly how I see it. I have always felt that money should be put into the classroom for the teachers. I'm not a fan of money being pumped into a central office staff where there are 6-figure or 5-figure incomes, and we have teachers in here who are teaching our future, and they have to fall to a lower standard. My thing is to go to the governor's office. Go while the legislation is open. Go there. Lobby this. Let them know. Call my senators. Call my congressmen. Tell them we need to support the teachers in the classroom. They are teaching the children who are going to be our future. They're going to be running the government one day.
Yes.
And they need that.
Jemiah, we haven't heard from you today.
We have holes in our streets. How can you fix that?
Holes in our street. Again, we can only patch so much. And yes, we do patch up streets when we have holes in our street. There's a patching thing that's going on where we use a coal mix of asphalt. But even with the patching, sometimes after it rains again, the patching comes back out. It's a constantly do over and do over and do over process. But again, we have to try and find the monies to actually redo these streets. Maybe not new reconstruction, total new reconstruction, but an overlay. Something that will last 7, 10, 12 years, something so that the citizens are okay. They're happy with it, but that's what we can do.
Very good. Ronald, let's hear yours. Bye, Ronald.
Why are taxes going up and what are they doing to lower the taxes here in Louisiana?
Taxes going up. I know that that's a pretty touchy topic right now because of our new governor and the deficit that he inherited upon coming in office. It's not what he thought it was much greater. But taxes. As far as the town of Clinton, our tax base, we have the lowest tax base there. And what it is, it's a form of revenue to help the town operate, but we don't totally rely on taxes. What we have to do, government officials, get to the table, get to the round table. It's a team effort. Lay everything out on the table. And we need to look at it and see what's best first for the people and what's best for our communities. And we have to understand that everybody is not going to be happy. But it's doable, it's workable, and we're going to be all right.
Michael?
In my school, I have one kid beating me up. He's a 6th grader. It's Tyler. He's a 6th grader.
So you want to know about bullying in the school?
Yeah, he always bullied me in the school. He was punching and pushing me.
Okay, so Michael's question is, what can we do about, we have some students who may want to answer that question of what we can do about bullying. Okay, Kaylee.
We need students to stop bullying because if they don't stop, they need to get detention.
And I know Tyler.
Okay, so we think about detention. So maybe there are some things that we can talk to. How about this? Maybe there are some things that we can come up with, and we can present these ideas to our leader in charge here at the school. See, some things we may not have to take to the mayor. Those are some issues that we can take to our leader here at the school. So if we feel that bullying is a problem, I tell you what, this week we'll make it our business, Michael, to come up with some suggestions that we can present to Ms. Shows to try to help stop bullying at the school. So that's something that we will start working on, and we'll start working on that ASAP.
Well,
All right, we'll go to the Deja.
The problem in our community is we need more stores for groceries, clothes, and gas. Also, we need better cell phone service for eaters.
Can I interject a little bit there?
Yes.
All of that comes when you live in, what type of community do you live in that, what type of community is this she's describing, or what kind of community? A rural community. And when we're in rural communities, there, a lot of times we have to go into the city to purchase, to make a lot of our purchases. And the cell phone reception is because of so many trees and things that we have here in our rural community. Now, I'm not sure if that's something that the mayor could probably take care of, or is that just something that comes with the territory of where you live?
Pretty much it comes with the territory because, again, because of Clinton, and that's where I'm at. As far as the geographics of it, and as far as land, a lot of time there's just no land to build, new stores and businesses, and the buildings that are there, they're already, someone is there, they're occupied already, and it's just hard to, when you're out in a rural area, to get the conveniences of the bigger towns. That's why sometimes we find ourselves going to the next big town to do our grocery shopping, to do our clothing shopping, and things of that nature.
Did we get there? Jada engaging. We should have everybody. Mackenzie, Jada, I'm sorry. Couple more? All right.
My problem in my community is that people pass up the stop signs, and what can you do that to stop? What can you do that to stop them?
Okay, that's where law enforcement comes into place. But know this, law enforcement cannot be there at all times 24/7. They make their rounds, and a lot of times these violators, they will not run a stop sign if there's a police cruiser or a police officer present. But what we can do, and what I tell people in the town of Clinton, if you see this constantly happening, what you can do, if you can get the license plate number, call the town of Clinton. And we will identify that person, and we will make contact with them, and we will give them a warning at first. After the warning, and we get it again, we're going to deal with you with a written statement from that person, and we don't reveal who that person is that has told us this. But we can get a sworn statement from that person, and we know that you're constantly doing this, then you will get a citation. And then when we start hitting your pocketbooks, when we go into the wallets, they will stop.
And I think so, and especially if you live on a main street, it's pretty hard with the stop signs, but I think in some residential areas, then maybe, I don't know the steps that they can come to, probably like have the speed bumps.
Right.
If it's a residential area, and maybe that can slow them down, and they would probably stop more at the stop signs. But when you live on probably a main street, I'm with the mayor, you probably would have to try to get the license plates and turn them in. Gage?
My problem with my community is too many people on the road move too fast. How can you slow the people down so they don't hit other people?
Okay, that's pretty much like what we just answered with Jada's question. I don't want to leave no one out. Cameron?
How can you stop? Hello, ma'am. My name is Cameron Taylor. How can you stop drugs in my community?
Drugs, a continuous fight. And with all honesty, in order to get those drug dealers, we're going to have participation from people in the community. Sometimes we have an idea of who's selling and who's on the corner selling, but we have to go in and be careful. And what I mean about being careful is that we don't want to rush in, and then we go in to get this person, and we go in and we haven't done our homework, and we come out empty-handed. because that's a defeat. And a defeat in the drug business is not a good defeat, and it's not one that you want to make a practice of getting. When you go in to get that drug dealer, you want to know that you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, so when you put him in front of that judge, when the gavel is hit, he's gone for a minute.
You're like, very good. Amari and Emma. And that should be everyone.
My problem is, how can we upgrade our parks? We need pools so people can learn how to swim and better things to play on. How can you help?
Very good. There are some agencies that will give you money for parks, for park recreation. And what we have to do is, again, network. We have to dig and just dig for funding for that. Because I know that as far as the rec parks down here at EBR, they are very nice parks. We have a park in the town of Clinton, and we're in need of park equipment. But what we have to do is try to get money. It's when I'm talking from a local standpoint, a small town or village. We have to use the resources that we have, and what we need to do is to apply for grant money to upgrade our park system. Okay?
Emma, good.
My problem is there are no sports or activities for elementary children. Can we put together some sports or clubs for kids my age?
Once again, when we talk about sports and things that we need more sports and activities in the school, we can take that to who?
The principal.
Okay, that's also like with Michael's idea to stop bullying. Maybe we can come up with some ideas and talk about, because a service can't be met if they don't know what the service is. That's like when the citizens go to the mayor. They have to tell what services that the community needs. If the mayor doesn't know the services that's needed in the community, they wouldn't know the things that they need to work on. So I think that we're the citizens of this school. This school is our community, Northeast. So we need to come up, if there are things that we need, services provided for different types of sports, then as a class, and we're going to do this, we're going to come up with some suggestions and ideas that we can take as a class and present them to our leader of our school community, which is Mrs. Shows. Mackenzie?
Problem. Local parks do not offer water activities in the rural areas of EBR.
Once again, we just talked about the parks and that the parks needed more. So all of that, she says, comes with like grants and different things that they can try to get to upgrade the parks and make it more things accessible for the kids to be able to come and play in families, because the parks can be a good place for families to go to. So I think that once a lot of the grants are in place, that they will upgrade the parks in the community to make them a better place, not just for children, but for family activities as a whole. So I think that all of you did a great job on your questions for the mayor. And I think that the mayor did an awesome job on answering how does a responsible government meet the needs of your local community. So now some of you have answers that you can take back to your what? Families, and now we know some steps that we can do when we have a problem or something that we want done in our community. There are steps as citizens that we can take when we go and take it and present it during a public hearing or city council meetings, and we can present these things, put them on the agenda, and see what the mayor and the city council members can do about helping us. Now we have some that we're going to have to take to our leader also. So I think that we've done a great job. We're going to end our lesson here today. What's going to happen is tomorrow, we won't do our exit tickets today. We'll do our exit tickets tomorrow. And the exit ticket is, would you want to be a government leader? Tell why or why not. So some of you, even at your age, the things that we're learning, you're deciding when you grow up, maybe I want to be a government leader, maybe I want to be a mayor, or maybe I want to be a city council member to be able to take care of our different communities, the state, whatever. So that's going to be something for you to think about, and we'll deal with that on tomorrow. Let's give the mayor, let's give the council alternate, Ms. Washington, a great big round of applause. Now, that's what she said. Who's the picture of, the last picture that you have?
The city council.
Are you sure that's the city council? All right, so when would you put the mayor on your list? Local, city, state, That's correct. Let's